If you could guarantee that you could make your clients $100,000, how easy do you think it would be for you to make new sales and get new customers? Over the last 10 years, I've made hundreds of thousands in sales myself with my own businesses, and I've helped over 17,000 funnel builders like you make hundreds of thousands for their customers following 3 extremely simple principles. Because anyone, including your business, can get outstanding 6 and even 7-figure results for your current clients. It doesn't matter how much experience you've got or if you've struggled in the past. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can guarantee massive returns for your clients and deliver them hundreds of thousands in sales. Plus, I'm also going to reveal the industry secret that all the gurus and funnel experts out there absolutely do not want you to know, because once you do, you'll never need to buy another course from them. And so where we start is, if you've ever spent thousands of hours building funnels that just don't convert, and if you've ever felt that you've disappointed your clients, I don't know about you, but I've spent tens of thousands of dollars on marketing courses from gurus telling me that this special new funnel that they've got converts like better than anything else. And I'm really excited to use it with my clients. But when I discovered this kind of underground method, my workload dropped overnight and I started working with fewer clients who were paying me more. And I never bought one of those funnel courses ever again because I realized that they fundamentally don't work. One of my core sales philosophies is to sell money and to tell people that you can get them, an incredible result. So usually the way I do this is I look at a thing called a currency, which is the thing that they want. I'll tell them whether I can make it go up or down. I'll make it happen in a certain time frame, and I'll do it without this kind of like headache. So for example, that could be like, I'll help you lose 5 kilos in 90 days without going to the gym, or I'll help you sell 10,000 ebooks on Amazon without spending a cent on ads. And whenever I've talked about this, the thing that people struggle with most is, how can I guarantee this type of result? How can I actually deliver that to customers? And the reason they struggle with it is for one of 3 reasons. Either they don't know anything about the customer's business. Sometimes they feel they don't have the skills to execute this type of offer or promise. And the other thing is they feel like, well, if I haven't done this before, I might not be able to do it with my new customers. Or maybe you've got a broad range, and I typically call this the experience problem. So you feel like you haven't got the experience delivering this type of work. What you need to understand is the types of results that you can get for your clients have got absolutely nothing to do with the funnel that you build. So this is Eliud Kipchoge. He's one of the fastest men on earth, and all the big companies like Nike, Adidas wanted him to break a marathon, which is 26.2 miles, in under 2 hours. And he managed to do that in 2019. It's a phenomenal result. He did it, as you can see here, in 1:59.40. When Nike and Adidas and New Balance started working with Eliud, they didn't think, let's try and train someone up to the point where they can reach that threshold. They started working with someone who was basically almost there. His current world record before this was something like 2 hours and 1 minute. So they just needed to shave off the tiniest amount. If you want to guarantee or get results for people, it comes down to the types of clients that you work with. Too many businesses try to perform miracles on new and what I call low performance businesses. And it's understandable because they're desperate and they feel like they need help and they want help, and it maybe feels like the stakes are perhaps a little bit lower, but the results that you can get them feel a lot higher. Plus, it kind of sounds like logical that you would work with businesses who aren't succeeding but do need help. But the key is working with businesses who have the magic 5. These 5 criteria basically determine whether you can get results for the client. You could work with 2 different types of businesses, we'll talk about that in a bit, but unless they've got these 5 specific areas, you won't be able to get results for them. Even if you work for them for 40 hours a week, every single week for free, they'll never see results. So the first thing is money. Can they afford to work with you? It's really, really important. They have to be able to pay you. Secondly, can they afford your advice? Which is when you say you're going to need to invest in this CRM system, can they also afford to implement your advice? Can you get them results? So we call this gains. Can you actually get them the results that they're looking for? A really important one is interest. Basically, do you like working with them or do you have some kind of affinity with them? And the fifth and final piece is connection. Basically, do they refer and do they have communities of their clients outside of the ones they're working with? If a business has these 5 aspects, they are exponentially more likely to succeed, and it's your job to help point them in the right direction. And so to find out if we can work with them, we basically use this type of process. So as I mentioned, we have this offer, and it might be something like, lose 5K or whatever it might be, or it might be gain $10,000 in revenue or whatever it might be. What I like to do is have a very specific offer page that talks about this offer. I don't tell people whether it's a coaching program, an agency work, one-on-one stuff, software, any of that, that's irrelevant. What we need is a crazy, amazing offer that gets people's attention. And the easiest way to then convert that initial interest is with a book a call page. I like to have a really simple form that offers a few dates, and I basically say, can we help you get this result in 10 minutes? Now, I'm not actually going to get them the result. It says, can I help you get this result in 10 minutes? This is just an initial discovery call to find out, are you capable? And then throughout this process, I'll basically ask them a ton of questions. This will be both before the call, on the call, and after the call to find out, do they have, in a sense, the magic 5? And then even on that call, that first 10-minute call, that will determine, are they suitable for a second call, which will last about 45 minutes, where I will ask even more questions. And those questions will then lead into, am I able to get you results? And here's how we can work together. Now, I'll go into this in more detail in a minute because you're probably asking, well, what questions should you be asking? And how do you know if you can even get these types of results for the customer? And we'll talk about that in a second. Because you might feel that you don't have the experience or the background. That's irrelevant. I can prove to you that even beginners can help mid-6-figure and larger businesses add $100,000 to their yearly revenue. I can basically prove to you that even beginners with almost no experience and no skills can get killer results for successful businesses. Now, by the way, if you want this whiteboard to download to help with your notes or help with your learning, just head over to sellyourservice.co.uk/whiteboard, or use the link in the description down below and you can download this for free. Now, if you don't implement this next part, you're basically going to be constantly disappointing your clients, and you're never going to consistently see wild success with your work. If you always feel sort of under pressure to deliver amazing work and try and save businesses, this is going to fix that. And when you kind of understand it, you'll begin to wonder what all the fuss is about when it comes to making sales, because it will actually be much easier than you think. So let's look at these 2 businesses and tell me, which one would you rather work with? We've got client A, they've got revenue of about $70,000. They've got a list of around 700 customers who have spent $100 with them. Their total list size is around 2,000. Their maximum product price is $500. They've got a couple of products, low profit margins. They've got hardly any community for their clients, either external or their own. They've got hardly any emails in their list, and they're not creating any content. Or B, who have got revenue of $250,000. They've got a list size of 1,500 customers. Their average customer spend is over $5,000. Their overall list size is 20,000. They've got a product price of around 15 grand. They email their list, they create content, they advertise. They also have lots of communities and proof of demand and a high profit margin. By the way, community means, are there groups of their potential clients hanging out online on Facebook or Instagram or with podcasts and books? Like, do they have proof that there are groups of these people out there? And B does. And they also have a high profit margin. If you chose B, you're 100% correct. Now that is proof that you can identify the correct type of clients that you should be working with. I want you to think of this a bit like choosing the best possible ingredients to start with making great food. So my wife is a really good cook, and she says that the key is starting with really good high quality ingredients. You can't make low quality ingredients delicious, but you can keep high quality ingredients really delicious. And so we want to think of our clients as a bit like the overall ingredients that we start with. So my guideline for a price for any kind of funnel is around 25,000. I like to take 3,500 up front, and then I like to take 2,000 a month over 12 months or 11 months, and that roughly, it's actually a little bit over 25,000. Now that is going to give you the tools, the resources, and the incentive to deliver great work. But none of that matters if the starting ingredients that you work with are low quality. We need high quality clients. You could work full time for 40 hours a week on someone else's business, and if it's not going to work, it doesn't matter how much time you put into it. The maths doesn't even work out, and I can prove this to you definitively. Option A, right, if you gave them, or they gave you $25,000, and they'll give $25,000 to A and B, if you drove them $100,000 worth of sales, that is a 4x ROI on what they've given you, and it's over 100% growth on their initial revenue. They are basically giving you $25,000 to more than double the business. You are essentially building their business from scratch for them, and when it's hardest, and you don't get any kind of recurring payment from that. Option B, if they gave you $25,000, if you made 100 grand for them, bearing in mind their product price is 15 grand, you'd only need 7 sales to be able to make that 100,000. You're still getting a 4x ROI, but it's just under a 50% increase in their business. They're going to be super, super happy with that, and it's very doable. Now, some of you are thinking, oh, maybe if I work with some of these lower businesses, I could take an equity percentage. Absolutely categorically not. I forbid it. Until you are doing 500,000 a year plus in revenue, you are forbidden from staying away from equity deals, because what ends up happening is you, as the marketing and sales expert, you are expected to bring in all of the revenue and all of the sales, and all of the risk is on you. And when things don't go well, they'll end up blaming you. Stay away from them until you have the experience to be able to work with customers who are starting from scratch. And bearing in mind, very few successful investors and entrepreneurs work with businesses that are failing. Do not become a savior of businesses. Work with businesses who need your help and who can afford you and afford to implement your advice. You should not be building anyone else's business from scratch unless it is 100% equity in your name. And so here's the killer question that you absolutely need to ask yourself. If hypothetically, you could only get paid after the client got the results that they were promising, what would they need to have already in order for you to think, well, this is a no-brainer project? So in theory, not literally, because we are absolutely taking payment up front, but in theory, if you could only get paid after the client got the results that you were promising them, what kind of things would they need before you worked with them in order for you to think, well, I can definitely get results for you almost without trying? If Eliud Kipchoge came up to you and said, I want to run a 2-hour marathon, would you be able to help him? You would almost certainly be able to help someone like Eliud Kipchoge succeed, as opposed to starting from brand new from scratch and training someone up to that point. It just isn't going to happen. So I'll give you a bit of an example. A friend of mine, Pete, who I worked with, he had what's known as a software localization business, massively untapped potential. He had a large list, he had lots of clients. Basically what he did is he took software and he localized it to different sort of languages. The problem is that he had almost zero upsell, no cross-selling, and he did almost zero outreach. And I can prove that even you, if you consider yourself an absolute beginner, could find $100,000 within Pete's business. So here's what his business looked like. So this is Pete's business. He had a customer database of 10,000 previous customers over 15 years. Now, they only reached out when they needed work doing. He used to advertise a lot, but he doesn't really do it anymore. Almost all of his work is word of mouth or search, or when customers just reach out to him and say, we need some more work. There is zero account management, there's zero outreach. He's not doing sales calls or face-to-face closing. It was all done via email. Their average spend is $5,000 to $10,000 a year. Their biggest customers would spend upwards of $40,000. His goals were to add an additional $100,000 a year to their revenue and to create recurring revenue. Now, if we go through Pete's business, we can see multiple opportunities to increase sales. The question, of course, is how do we find the Petes of the world? How do we find these clients? So I want to walk you through a really simple funnel for you to use to uncover easy win clients that want to work with you. So if you remember our funnel that we talked about earlier, we have our initial offer, and the easiest way to come up with an offer is to think of a currency. That's the thing that they want more than anything. It could be clients, it could be weight loss, it could be units sold. A really easy way to figure out what this is what I call the point to problem. If they logged onto their computer, what dashboard would they point at to prove this is the number that we want to affect? Don't get clever with it. Pen people sell pens. They want units sold as pens. Netflix wants recurring subscribers. Do not overcomplicate this. So the currency, we then choose whether it goes up or down. For example, weight loss goes down, churn goes down, sales go up, revenue goes up. Don't use percentages, choose something specific. And if you begin to think, but I don't know how to guarantee that, you're already caught in that loop of putting the cart before the horse. So I want you to go back to the start of the video and remind yourself you actually can make a promise of a specific amount of currency, in this case revenue, if we work with the correct clients. So we make the currency go up or down within a specific time frame. In our particular case, we're going to say, I'm going to help coaches find 5 $10,000 clients within 90 days. All right, really simple. Now, I would then create something extremely basic, like a really simple opt-in page where I could capture their name, their email address and their phone number. And I would say, I've got a template that helps coaches get this thing. If you'd like it, go ahead and download it. I would have a page similar to what I talked about earlier, where they can book a call. Then I would offer a call that says, let's see if I can find this for you within 10 minutes. Now, if they are driven to the opt-in page, which is really good for like social media and for like, YouTube videos and stuff like this, and then I'd redirect them to that call page, or I would just promote the call page. My advice, create both, spend most of your time trying to drive people to the call page, and if people want something free, drive them to the opt-in page, simple. Now here's where the really clever hacks come in. On this page, I will still say the offer of, let's see if we can get these results for you within 10 minutes. Answer a few questions. And this is actually a questionnaire with a little bit of logic behind it that asks those questions beforehand. So when we look at, if I could only get paid after the client got the results I was promising, what would they need to have already in order for this to be a no-brainer project? Bearing in mind, we've got magic already. So first of all, do they have the budget? Do they have the money to work with me? I might say something like, typically in order for us to get results like this, we're looking at spending around $10,000 to $25,000. Do you have that available? They might go, no, I'm just looking for free stuff, or yes, that's within our budget. Great. Usually our costs are around another 10,000. If yours are lower, then fine. If they're higher, then fine. But we also want to say, are you able to afford and implement? Can I get them results? So when we look at their gains, can I get them results? Do they have a list already? Do they have communities that they already reach out to? Are they advertising? What are the signals that tell you, man, this business is already doing everything. If I just fixed a few holes in their funnel, they would crush it. Do you like working with them already? So you might ask them what their niche is or what their industry is, just to double check. For example, I don't work with authors. So when people say, oh, I'm an author, I say, I'm really sorry, I can't work with you. And see, communities, that might come back under this one, but connections, I wouldn't worry about that too much. We can ask that on a call. But you want to ask like 3 to 5 questions that would give you a really quick identifier of should you work with this person. If they answer all these questions and they appear to be qualified, we can allow them to actually book a call. If they are not, we could say, well, here's a downsell product. We're not quite right for you, but we do have like a $2,000 training product, like a course or something. Or we can, move you into a group program or something. Now, some software allows you to do this pre-qualification and put the form before they see the booking form, like High Level, for example, and some can't, but that's okay. My advice would be make sure you just ask the questions and at least ask it in the form. And if they don't meet the criteria, we will email them and tell them that we're at capacity, but we'll get in touch if we have any spaces open up. This is if they don't pre-qualify, we tell them they've booked up. If they are qualified, then they can go ahead and book something. We book a 10-minute call where we will basically jump on Zoom with them and we'll have a conversation with them. I keep it really, really short, and I use the questions that I've got above. I'll use Magic, and I will also use something called BANTS, which is very, very similar. So BANTS is budget, authority. So are they the one who makes the decision? Does anyone else need to be on the call? If you've ever had a conversation with someone, they go, oh, I need to run this past my manager, that means you didn't ask if they were the authority during the qualification stage. Their need is, what is it actually that you're looking for? What is it that you want to work with someone like us to get? Their time scale is, when are you looking to do this? Because if they go, we're shopping around maybe the next year, that means they don't have a desperate need, and I want to make sure they have a need for it now. And suppliers might be, who else are you working with to solve this problem, or who have you worked with in the past? This is a really quick 10-minute framework. So I'll say, hey, thanks very much for joining, Mike. Appreciate you jumping on the call with me. I just wanted to let you know I'm back to back with calls right now, so I can only give you 15 minutes. All I want to do is ask you a few questions, see if I can help. If I can help, we'll book in a call for a longer conversation where we can get more in depth. How does that sound? And everyone will go, oh, that sounds fantastic. You've set the tone, you've set the pace, and you can get into the questions. The only purpose of this call is to basically decide, do I want to continue investing my time with them? You need to decide on this 10-minute call, is there enough for me to work with and spend another 45 minutes of my time discovering more? That's when I'll offer them to book a 45-minute call. And you might be thinking, there's no way that I could spend just 45 minutes and close someone on a sales call. This absolutely is a sales call. You can close people on this. If you want examples of that, I've got videos. I'll try and link one down below where I close a customer on a 45-minute call. Do not, on this longer call, offer value by solving problems or fall into the coaching trap. This is basically strictly a call to uncover whether it makes sense for you two to work together. The point of selling is understanding, does it make sense for us to work together? What a lot of people do is they'll take this call and they'll try to demonstrate value and demonstrate their expertise by coaching the customer and solving a few problems. That is absolutely not the point. The value is letting them vent, getting their ideas out and seeing what could work. You want to spend most of your time on this call uncovering their problems and what they've got right now, where they want to get to, and the roadblocks or the things they've tried to see and think, is it realistic to be able to help them? What I like to do is I like to draw a cliff and literally say, this is where you are now. Tell me everything that you've got within your business. Sales, leads, results, time, all that thing, right? What are your goals? Where do you want to get to? And they'll say, oh, we want this much in sales, this many products, this team size, this much time off. I like to match every single goal with every single thing now. If they say they want $250,000 per month in revenue, I'll say, where are you at now? If they say they want 5 million in sales, where are you at now? If they want 10 people on their team, where are they at now? And I keep comparing them. And then I look at the gap here as their roadblocks. So I'll literally say, why haven't you been able to get there yourself? What's preventing you from making these improvements by yourself? What have you tried before in order to get there? And this basically gives me a list of things that I can sell against. After you've got all of this out, there will be a natural kind of priority and a natural problem that will come up. For example, it might be, so to make sure I've understood this, you want to make $500,000 a month in sales, and you feel the biggest thing holding you back right now is your sales workflow. Is that right? I go, yeah. Would you like some help with that? Is the only sales closing framework that you need. Because they will either say yes or no. If they say no, ask them why. If they say yes, you go, fantastic, it's $3,500, we can get started today. Then they'll object and then they'll say, yes, I want to know how it works, and you can talk them through that. But the point is that you can close them on this call. Once you've taken payment, you want to deep dive their numbers. You want to check off everything that they've told you and go through their numbers with a fine-tooth comb. You want to look for low-hanging fruit, easy wins, quick sales, missed opportunities. Now, most marketers, they will focus on leads and traffic right at the top of the funnel. They'll go straight to ads. And in my opinion, that is a giant waste of time and money. If I worked with a customer and you worked with a customer and I said, I'm going to help you get a load of leads and traffic. And I said, look, this advert got 500,000 eyeballs on it. And you said, I've made you $50,000 in sales. Which one do you think they're going to attribute success to? They're going to attribute it to you. They do not care about virality and views and leads. They care about money. Sell money. Like I said, if you want this whiteboard, you can actually head over to sellyourservice.co.uk/whiteboard and you can download it for free or use the link in the description below. Now, this next part that I want to talk about is how we deliver results to clients. And when I started doing this, I was able to collect dozens of testimonials. If you head to sellyourservice.co.uk/stories, you'll see all of the results that we've got from clients. And this is from customers who basically could not believe how quickly I was getting them sales. If you ignore this next part, you are forever going to be trapped in the cycle of thinking that you don't have the experience to deliver this. This is going to make your life exponentially easier. If you want to guarantee your status as a godlike marketer with ultimate skills, do this. So what I do is I focus on these key areas. After I've worked with the client, first of all, is I find their top 20% of clients. Now that could be either via spend or profitability. And I basically have a list of these are the people that I want to work with more than anyone. I will text, call, and email those clients to get them on a call, either to introduce myself, a member of their sales team, their account manager, or the client themselves, and I will deep dive their problems. I basically want to get them on a call and say, hey, last month you spent 20 grand with us. I'd love to understand what it is that you're trying to solve and if there's anything we can work on together at the moment. You would be staggered when you give people the opportunity to tell you their problems, they'll do it. And you're going to do that for their clients. All I'm aiming for is a 10% increase in sales across this 20%. So if this 20% in total spent 100,000, I want to aim for 10 grand to start with, just to prove that we can generate money from these guys. And the way that I do that is with a really simple framework. And I think people overcomplicate the sales process. This can be done via email, it can be done via sales calls, it can be done via Zoom or webinars or whatever. But if someone's already bought from you, or if someone has bought from your clients, don't overthink just trying to sell to them again. So the first thing is, again, do they want to buy that product again? You'd be staggered at how many people go, oh, actually, yeah, we do need to order another load of paper. We do need to order another load of coaching or whatever. Do they need to buy more? Last time you bought 10 units, did this time you need to buy 15 because you've expanded? And they go, yeah, we do, fantastic. Do they need to buy different? And what I mean by this is, last time you bought our white Xbox controllers, we've just had a brand new shipment of, Shocking Blue one comes in. Shocking Blue, do you need to buy that one? Or it could be, you've bought an Xbox controller, do you now need a gaming headset? What else within the ecosystem do they need to buy? And the last part is, do they need to buy on repeat or sometimes regular? So that might be, look, last year you bought a bunch of insurance from us. Would you rather buy the fire insurance this year and the damages and protection insurance, and do you need to buy this every single month and every single year? And they'll say yes. These are the 4 things that you can essentially sell against in order to make money for your clients. And the first thing that I like to run is something called an HS campaign, which stands for holy shit, as in, holy shit, I cannot believe you got a sale so quickly. Now, they likely have 2 audiences already, possibly 3, we'll talk about that. They will have their email list. Now that might be their sort of previous customers or just their, data and leads in general. And they might have some kind of social audience. The third one is they might already have traffic coming to their website like a blog or something. But either way, we've got 3 kind of sources already. Pro tip, this should be one of your questions for the above. What type of communities and data do you have already? A super simple campaign is, do you need some help? Your clients have problems that they solve. Do you need help solving this problem? Don't overthink how easy it is to generate sales for your previous clients. If your clients help with drainage, I would email blast every single person they've ever worked with and said, I know we worked with you 18 months ago. Are your drains still okay? I'll go, yeah, no, we actually do need some help with that. Did you like your last product? Would you like to buy again? We can help you again. If you're charging $25,000 and you work with a client whose average spend is 15 or even 10,000, if you can generate 10,000 or 12,000 and pay for 50% of your costs within a few days, which you can do if you have access to this type of data, they will see you as a marketing god. Now remember, that internal voice in your head screaming, but I don't know how to do that. Just think about what we've been over. The success has already been determined by your qualification. If you're working with high quality ingredients and high quality clients, you don't need to worry about the complexity of the campaign. Here's something really simple to understand. A very simple and clear and even unsexy campaign to the right audience with the right offer will always convert better than a clever, complex campaign with the wrong offer to the wrong audience. Only the other day, a post like this made of text only on YouTube generated us 74 leads. Something as simple as this can get sales. Now, if you're wondering how to actually find clients to work with, that's why I've got this video here talking about how we run a super simple sales campaign to find clients in just 7 days.